In this video, I discuss career mistakes that can ruin your retirement. Coming up next on Holy Schmidt.
Holy Schmidt!
When we start out in our careers, oftentimes we're offered what's called a starter career package. That means that we are offered a basic salary, health insurance, and perhaps a 401k, maybe even a match to that 401k, and that's about it. But things such as a pension, deferred compensation, company shares are not available to those in most cases when they just start with an organization. Over time, you gain experience and you grow in your career. Sometimes it's with your current company, oftentimes it's not. But as you move up, you're looking at the pay, of course, but also the benefits if you're really focused. Unfortunately, outside of salary, health insurance, and vacation days, benefits are basically invisible to most beginning and intermediate level employees. This video is going to discuss a lot of the no-nos that will keep you on track when you're thinking about what to do and what not to do when it comes to your career as it relates to your retirement savings and your retirement lifestyle. All right, let's go. Point number one, choosing short-term larger pay versus long-term reasonable pay and strong benefits. Some people choose a company that pays a little bit more or maybe even a lot more, but has a very average, and I'm being kind here when I say average, benefits package outside of compensation. This is often the case when someone chooses a career path that involves independent contractors. Think about everything from being a commissioned salesperson, well-paid commissioned salesperson, to an Uber driver. In many of those cases, it pays to consider what your other options are before saying yes to that type of role. Yes, the money's good, often very good, but living in the gig economy, which is what this is called, does play havoc with your future retirement plans oftentimes. So be careful with the type of work that you choose to do, because being a solopreneur often comes with light benefits. The next mistake is planning to work indefinitely. If you ask the average 40-year-old when they plan to retire, they will generally give you one of two answers. I'm going to retire early, and here's my plan. I read a book called Fire. Or I plan on working indefinitely because I really like working. While people do in fact work past the age of 65, I can tell you the average 40-year-old would feel differently at age 65 than they do at 40. If for no other reason, then their energy level will be significantly lower at age 65. Add to that the fact that their employer may not actually want them in the role past age 65, and you start to see a picture where working indefinitely becomes more of a challenge than one originally thought. The next mistake that ruins retirement is relocating to an expensive city. Let me explain. When I graduated from the Kellogg Business School, I got a job in banking. I moved from Illinois to New York City, and it was a reasonably large increase in pay. But what I didn't count on was that the increase in pay also had a corresponding increase in costs. At the time I got the offer, I thought I won the lottery until I realized just how expensive living in New York City really is. 1 year into my role, almost exactly to the day, because it was the first opportunity for me to take any vacation whatsoever as a newbie in banking, my parents came to visit us. And my father made a comment that he had to pick up a few things across the street at the convenience store. He came back about 20 minutes later complaining about the $5 tube of toothpaste. At the time, I didn't think much about it because, frankly, I'd been living in New York for over a year and it was actually invisible to me. But when I went home to visit in reverse, so another year after that, I realized that that tube of toothpaste at $5 in the convenience store in New York City was $1.99 at the grocery store in Illinois. Yes, it was a better paying job, but here's an important point to note. If you move into a city like New York or another really expensive city and you have children, there's a good chance you'll end up retiring there if they grow up there. And here's why. Because as they grow up, they make friends and they choose to have their own careers, of course. Well, there's a good chance that they're going to choose the same city they grew up in to start their career. So you'll have to make a choice, live in the city where they live or move and visit. That's a big choice. The next mistake is not participating in the company 401k plan when given the opportunity to do so. Let me explain. When you start with a company, you're given the opportunity to participate in its benefits packages, and one of those packages, or one element, is the 401k plan, oftentimes. Sometimes people make the choice not to participate because they need the cash flow. But I'm here to tell you that if it's hard today, it will be much harder next year, the year after that, the year after that, as you have more obligations. And you will also lose multiple years of growth on your contributions by waiting. You don't want to wait 5 or 10 years and then find out at the company benefits fair that just about everybody else was contributing to the 401k plan and you weren't. But importantly, many employers offer a match, but they only match a contribution. So if you don't make a contribution, they don't match. The next mistake is not understanding the overall benefits package when accepting a job. Oftentimes, when we are negotiating a job, we think about our salary, but we don't necessarily think about all of the other elements that come with that role. But you should be evaluating how the new benefits package compares to your old benefits package when you are negotiating your role. Also, what does it look like 3, 4, 5 years in the future? Believe it or not, with some people, the first time they know about the benefits package is when the Human Resources Department sits down with them to have them fill out their forms when they're being onboarded. The next career mistake that ruins retirement is retiring early. Let me explain. Just because you can retire early doesn't mean that you should. Let's take 2 examples, an employee who retires at age 62 and one who retires at age 65. The person who retires at age 62 forgoes contributing 3 more years to their retirement account. They also are drawing on their retirement account for 3 additional years. Importantly, most people who retire at age 62 actually take Social Security at age 62. Yet Social Security grows the longer you wait. The next mistake is saying no to career progression as you approach retirement. Let's be honest, change is scary. Sometimes it's thrust upon us. If you're laid off and you have to go find a new job, that's change. You don't have a choice. But people get very comfortable as they get close to retirement with the role that they're in. But this is a double-edged sword. It's a risk that some people are unwilling to take. But let me give you a different perspective on this. Let's say that you're 5 to 7 years out from retirement and you're given the opportunity to take a bigger position and you say no. Well, 2 things happen. 1, the person behind you also doesn't get a new position. And 2, they have to fill that position anyway, so somebody else is going to get the job. So you lose the opportunity to grow, build a new set of skills, contribute at a higher level to the organization, and the organization loses the opportunity to promote 2 people. They can now only promote 1. And occasionally the person who would have been promoted into your role will be looking for your job anyway. So it could create additional pressure that you didn't count on. The next career mistake that ruins retirement is not staying current in your current role. The company will often notice when you have 2 employees, one who's moving into a role and one who's been in a role for a long time, and the one in the role for a long time can't do the same things that the newer employee can. This is obvious in some roles, less obvious in others. For example, if you work in IT and somebody calls you and you can't solve their problem, but somebody else can, eventually that somebody else is going to start getting the phone call. If you're in sales and you don't build succession contacts, that is, the people who work for the people that you sell to now, if you don't develop those contacts when they retire, you may lose the account. If you're an HVAC repair person and you don't know how to fix the latest heating and air conditioning units, then the company puts you on the older homes and eventually puts you outside of the organization altogether. You get the point. The next mistake is choosing to consult instead of taking a new job if you're made redundant. Sometimes bad things happen and people are let go. It's very easy in that situation for you to bid yourself out and just accept the highest bidder out there. Oftentimes, this is even more money than you're currently making now. But you are foregoing several years of benefits, retirement benefits, by doing it that way. Remember, when you do this, you're foregoing safety and security. And these are 2 elements that are very important as you approach retirement. And so is continuing to contribute to your retirement accounts. If you like this video, check out that video. Avoid these 7 things that can ruin your retirement. This is Jeff Schmidt. Thanks for watching.